very few cricketers have had the opportunity to retire from international cricket in front of their home crowd. Andre Russell will be the envy of many when he suits up for West Indies against Australia on Tuesday at Sabina Park in his farewell game. In today's show, we will look at Andrew's contribution to West Indies cricket. This is the Takedown. Hello everyone, welcome to the #1 cricket channel in the Caribbean. I thank you for being here. I appreciate your company and look forward to our live interactions. I have this morning with me those two protagonists. Dwight Chatu, who is making his return after probably about 2 months, and the son of the former West Indies great, Basil Butcher Jr. Before I welcome the gentlemen on the show, I must tell you that we are having numerous technical challenges this morning. So please bear with us as we give Andre Russell his send-off. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to the show. I hope they are seeing you.
Yes, good morning, Carlton. Good morning, Chatu, and good morning to all your viewers.
All right, good morning, Carlton. Good morning, Basil, and good morning to the forum's viewers.
Thank you, gentlemen. Over the years, Andre Russell have divided opinions in West Indies cricket circle. And this, in his farewell moment, opinions will be divided. Not only some would debate whether he deserved this farewell match. They would cite what happened to Chandapal, another past great. But even as he retired from international cricket, the debate will long continue what his real contribution was to West Indies cricket. This morning, I have asked Basil Butcher Jr., as I said, and along with his fellow guest, Dwight Chatu, to look at Andre Russell's contribution to West Indies cricket. Now, when you look at Andre Russell's number, just the numbers, you'd have seen, and we are not here talking about the one test match that he played for the West Indies, in which he got only 1 wicket and made 2 runs in that test match. But in one-day international, he has played 56 matches with a highest score of 92 not out. He averages 27.21 with the bat and has a strike rate of 130. In those 56 matches, he had taken 70 wickets at 31.84 with an economy of 5.84 and a strike rate of 33, means he's getting wicket every 33 delivers. In T20 cricket, he played 84 matches for the West Indies. His highest score was 71. His average was 22. His strike rate was 63. While bowling, he took 61 wickets in those 84 matches. That's less than a wicket per match, with an average of 30.59, an economy of 9.3, and a strike rate of 19.7. Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you both, starting with Basil Butcher Jr., to summarize Andre Russell's contribution to West Indies cricket.
Russell is a guy that will be remembered as a guy that promised a lot, and he delivered sporadically. That would be his legacy. A guy with immense all-round talent, but he promised a lot in terms of West Indies, playing for West Indies internationally, but he delivered sporadically. That, for me, is Russell's legacy. Overall, he was a fantastic player on all the circuits, but for West Indies, that would be his legacy, in my opinion.
Thank you very much, Basil Jr. Dwight, what was Russell's journey in international cricket like for you?
Yeah, I have to concur with Basil. I think Russell was somebody that we saw as a powerhouse talent. Could bowl, could find a spell where he was bowling really, really well, could feel amazingly well in the field, and could just come in and give you an innings that would turn a game. but he just never delivered often enough. He was affected by injury, and at the end of the day, he just never realized in our eyes all that he could have been. But at no point in time, I think that West Indians didn't recognize the heart with which he played whenever he went out there. He played with a lot of heart, and it was just regrettable that he was not able to realize his true potential, in my opinion.
Many persons, however, Dwight, would say to you that were those injuries real or were they fabricated? Fabricated, because that has always been a discussion. I am not here to doubt that those injuries were real because the gentleman said that he's injured. Were those injuries real or was some of them fabricated, Dwight?
Listen, I think Russell suffered for being a lot more consistent in franchise cricket than he was in international cricket. When we saw him in franchise cricket, that was a player that was highly reliable, highly reliable, and a player that you could depend on, and a player that was a part of many championship runs. And we saw that, and then saw him come over to play for the West Indies, and then just saw what some people thought were excuses. And because of that, people just started to say, listen, man, this man is a mercenary. This man is all about his money. This man is more focused on just himself. And people question what the truthfulness of some of the things. But I think that's unfounded. I think in each case that he was injured. I think I even remember the World Cup run. I think it was a one-day World Cup run where I think we only defeated Pakistan in that run.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a particular game where Russell literally bowled injured and bowled his heart out and paid for it after that. But so I don't really question whether or not he indeed was injured. But I think because he produced more on the franchise level than he did in international cricket, it opened up a situation where people questioned his loyalty to the colour.
Basil, I'm going to come to you shortly for you to tell me that one standout moment for you when it comes to Andre Russell. And after you, Dwight will also tell us that one standout moment. But unfortunately, Sherwin started in the chat to say that of the four items that I list, because you know we have a live poll going on, whether he was a legend, a West Indies great, a franchise hero, or just a star. And Sherwin said none of those, which I found very unfortunate, because a player who has won 2 World Cup for the West Indies, 2 IPL, and numerous other franchise titles all over the world cannot just be average. He must be at least a star. So for Sherwin to say that, I think it is malicious and it's a bad way to really get going. But nonetheless, Basil, tell me what was that one standout moment for you when it comes to Andre Russell?
What stands out to me? Look, I'll say this. I don't really look at the IPL. I don't really look at T20 franchise cricket much at all. But this happened in the CPL, which is the one that I look at because, I know the local players. And it was a game where he made 100 at Sabina Park. The 100 he made, I think it's against Trinidad or Guyana, one of the two. In 100, I think he fought 4 balls or something like that. He hit about 11 sixes. It was a display of serious hitting, unlike you're seeing, there are very few that could hit like Mr. Russell on that evening. It was a fury. He was like a tornado unleashed on the bowling that evening. That match stands out for me in terms of Mr. Russell.
I remember the match quite well. I think it was played in Trinidad against Trinidad, and Tala were in some trouble.
Yes.
When he came to the crease, it was highly likely that the TKR was going to win, and he made that century. Magnificent century it was.
Oh, yes.
Please remember to slash a like on the video. Please click on that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel and share the channel with your friend. Dwight, what was that one standout moment for you for Andre Russell?
I won't name his franchise. I won't look at his franchise in cricket innings, because he has had a few of those which have been quite impressive. But for me, and people who said, "Dwight, why are you going so far back?" But still, that semi-final against India in the 2016 T20 World Cup, where he came in with the West Indies just in a spot of a bother in terms of overhauling India's score. I think India put up something like 192. And at the time, we were struggling with a run rate. We needed around 76. There were only 41 balls left. Yes, Lender Smith was at the wicket, but at that time, he wasn't really humming as we want him to do to chase that sort of a total. And in 2016, 192 was quite a winnable score. Was almost like a winnable score. People just go home and just listen to the game is done. And he came in and put on an amazing display. He made 43, 43 from 20 balls. And for me, that game in that semifinals, in front of that crowd, against that opposition, was just amazing for me. And for me, that was my highest and Andre Russell moment. Got us into the finals, and you all know what happened in the finals. We won another T20.
Thank you very much, Dwight. Please I'm just reminding you to show some appreciation. We need to get the likes up. I really want to come to your comments, but you know the drill. Without us reaching a threshold of likes, unfortunately I cannot come to your comment. Basil, I saw Cricket West Indies press release about honoring Andre Dwayne Russell. And in that press release, they made the point to point out that he's playing this match on merit. Is this, do you buy into this press release that he's playing it on merit, or do you think that Cricket West Indies is just saying to Andre Russell, here is your farewell. We are going to drop you, but we will give you a chance to retire in front of your home crowd. And if you think that he is not in this team on merit, do you think that's a correct policy for Cricket West Indies to be picking players for farewell matches? And I'm going to ask Dwight the same question, Dwight, so please prepare your answer. Basil.
Look, I think there's a little hyperbole on the West Indies part in terms of Russell. I think Russell has passed his expired date in terms of playing for the West Indies, but he still can contribute at this level, because one thing you would note, some of his highest scores with the bat have come belatedly at the tail end here of his T20 career, and he's still a guy that, to me, more than any of our bowlers, fast seam bowlers, has the ability to bowl in the death and bowl the Yorkers with more frequency than the rest. So, although I may say he has passed his expired date, because I think the injuries have finally caught up with him, because we all remember Russell as one of the most dynamic athletic fielders in world cricket. And sometimes it's a pain to see Russell almost seemingly hobbling, running, chasing behind balls that we all knew that Russell would have swooped up in the past. You know, the thing with this farewell games thing, I don't think it's a good precedent, but I think I understand where West Indies board is coming from, because the West Indies Cricket Board has had an estranged relationship with its players for all the years it's been in existence. And they have discarded some of our all-time greats, like kicking them to the curb without no acknowledgement, etc., etc. And this iteration, or the one prior to that, is trying to repair those relationships and do things like this for like a farewell thing for Russell.
Thank you very much, Basil. Over to you, Dwight.
I thought the release was clumsy. I thought the release was very, very clumsy. Whether you are hearing stuff around that people may think that, oh, if Russell plays, he's just getting a farewell game. I just think that that is just something you shouldn't have gone in and touched at all. They should have just simply have issued a release and just made it entirely about the player. Strangely enough, they never did that for Craig Brathwaite. And I'm being honest, I don't think that Craig Brathwaite should have played that series against Australia. All right. I thought that it was clear to me that he was out of form and that there are questions about his place in the team. But there was just a love fest for Craig Brathwaite. There was no comment about him being selected on merit. Russell comes in, and I'll agree. Russell in T20 chances might not have been what Craig Brathwaite was in the testing. But I just think if a player is going off and if you're putting together a send off for the player, let it be all about that send off. Don't dabble into don't think that this player didn't deserve his place in the team and he got his place in the team by merit. Don't get into that sort of thing because you're distracting, and that's what we're talking about this morning. Instead of just talking about Russell and about his career and just wishing him well. So I thought the release was clumsy, and all of this just could have been avoided.
Sticking with you, Dwight, Andre Russell said, words cannot explain what it meant. To represent the West Indies has been one of the proudest achievements in my life. I think this is now the part that will have some persons wondering, what did he just say? This. I love playing for the West Indies. How do you react to those comments, Dwight, especially the last part where Russell said that he loved playing for the West Indies? Not many persons will agree with that.
I sort of have a different eye on Russell than others. Whenever he took the field, he looked like a player who was very, very enthusiastic about playing. He looked like a player who played with his heart. He looked like a player who genuinely was out there trying. It didn't look like he was just simply going through the motion. I can name a couple of players who definitely don't look like they enjoy playing for the West Indies or want to play for the Windies. But again, I think if you were to ask a West Indian cricketer, who are the mercenaries? Because we tend to use this term a lot. Russell's name will be named among that group of players that we believe are regarded as mercenaries. And his chances are aware of it. And so you're hearing him compensating or overcompensating in his statement by just telling people, listen to me, man, I love playing for the West Indies. And you're saying that. But I don't question Russell's love to play for the West Indies. When I see him go out there and think, I see a player who's definitely playing with heart.
Basil, as you prepare your answer, I'm just going to read what Coach Darren Sammy said. Andre has always been the consummate professional and a fierce competitor. Whether I was captaining him or now coaching him, his hunger to perform and win for the West Indies has never wavered. I wish him all the best in the next chapter. Go ahead, Basil, with your response as I just read what Coach Darren Sammy said there.
Look, to add to what Chato said, the sentence Russell should have said, when I played for the West Indies, I loved playing, right? Because when one looks at Russell's numbers in terms of the matches played for the length of time he has been from the time of debut in 2011 to present, he hasn't even played 100 T20 matches. People like Puran, who have played in less years, played more matches than Russell. So the thing that Chato raised that fans would say about, this title mercenary, because we have seen instances where Russell chose to go and play in franchise cricket rather than represent West Indies, right? So I think it should be phrased, when I played for West Indies, I loved playing for West Indies. But overall, he made business decisions that, that the love thing may not be the appropriate word to use. And yeah, and I think what Sammy is saying, I think, is absolutely correct. When Mr. Russell stepped on the field for the West Indies, he always gave it his all. You could see that there is no doubt about it. He played for the West Indies hurt, and at times people would say that the effort when he was even hurt playing for the West Indies was not the same effort like when he played for the franchise injured. You would hear all of those things, and unfortunately for Russell, that would come with would be par for the course because of some of the choices he had made in terms of making himself available to play for the West Indies or not.
Sticking with you, Basil, in that press release, Russell had stated that he hopes that he will be an inspiration to the next generation of West Indies star. Do you think that he would be that? Youngsters coming up will see him as one of the greats. Youngsters coming up will want to pattern their game off him. Youngsters coming up will talk about him. Have he really made that impression in his country and the West Indies by large, Basil?
I don't know about the upcoming generation, but he has made that impact in some of the present players, namely Rovman Powell is one of the guys. Other guys like Blackwood and Kenar Lewis and some of the others who Russell, they were trained with him. He took them on his wings and, introduced them to the concept of your conditioning being top notch if you're going to compete at the highest level. We all know Rovman Powell was a protege and he patterned himself after Russell. He even used to have his hair cut like Russell at one point. So yes, I think he has done his inspiration. I don't know about the upcoming generation because this generation would have seen a dwindling Russell, not the force Russell that what he was in his heyday.
Over to you, Dwight. What's your thought on it? And compare him to Usain Bolt, because although Russell went on much longer than Usain Bolt, I think Russell started playing for West Indies in 2010, and Usain Bolt won the World Cup, not the World Cup, the Olympic gold in 2008. So for a while, both of them careers were parallel. So compare the impact that Russell will have and that of a Usain Bolt, and do you think it measures up? Do you think that when a Jamaican child see Andre Russell, do they recognize him? Do they ask him for his signature in the same way they would do for Bolt? So do you think that he will really be an inspiration to future cricketers?
All right. I think that's an unfair comparison. Comparing Russell with Usain Bolt. I mean, you know who Usain Bolt is? Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I won't even attempt to do that. Don't do that. I wanted to talk about Russell himself. And yes, Russell never vaulted to the place where we would call him an absolute superstar in T20 cricket. But we saw serious talent there. We saw talent there. And from how Russell has carried himself, especially off the field, and a lot of people don't recognize some of the influences that Russell has had over other players. And I'm glad that Basil alluded to it. I've heard cricketers saying, listen, man, Russell taught me how to be a professional. Russell showed me the sort of work you need to put in this game if you want to get to the very top. I've heard that sort of comment about Russell. I mean, we have seen videos on social media of Russell's training regimen in terms of him running that hill and him exercising frequently and things. So I do believe that with what he did with his career, he can be an inspiration. He might not have been an absolute superstar, but he was a player of note. He won important games, and on the franchise level, he definitely was a superstar on the franchise level. So players looking on, the West Indian players looking on, they can take some sort of inspiration from a player who wasn't absolutely at the very top, like a Usain Bolt or a Brian Lara. I think that he can serve as an inspiration. And definitely, for these younger cricketers who are looking for success in the T20 game, they will definitely look at the playbook from us. So there's value there as well.
Thank you very much. Now, for me, and in particular me, as we look at whether Russell was a legend, a West Indies great, and I realized looking from the poll, it is shifting between a legend and just a star. Persis doesn't seem as a West Indies great or a franchise hero. They do, but the majority of the numbers are coming in for the legend and just a star. For me, though, because everyone knows my standard, who have listened to this program long enough, is if today is the first time you are tuning in, this would probably be the first time you heard me say it. But I've always said it, that an individual that I considered an all-rounder have to meet two thresholds. One, they have to play at least 20 matches in that format. And the second one is that their batting average has to be higher than their bowling average to be qualified as an all-rounder in my criteria. Gentlemen, starting with you, Basil, the four options. Was he a legend? Was he a West Indies great? Was he a franchise hero? Or was he just a star? And explain to us why you choose one of those four options.
Actually, Carlton, I choose two. He was a franchise hero and a star for in terms of international cricket, right? Russell had his moments for the West Indies, albeit he didn't play as much as he could have played in the time that he was on the world stage. Uh, um, and in terms of franchise, he was a he was a superstar because wherever he went, he was like Midas. Everything he touched turned to gold. Because I think Russell is one of those guys in every franchise league that he had played in. The teams that he played on won championships. So I go with the last two in terms of looking at Russell because I think Russell's career has to be divided between the two. His international performances for West Indies and his franchise performances around the world. So those I go with both of those two options there, Carlton.
I see, Dwight, that Basil doesn't want to play by the rules, so we'll give him a few extra minutes to choose one. But Dwight, let's hear from you.
Um, I, I'm Russell, you're my boy and everything, eh? I don't want Jamaicans coming at me, but for me, he was just a franchise hero. He was just a franchise hero. I don't think anybody can dispute the work that he has put in at a franchise level. I think he's probably the winningest West Indian at the franchise level in terms of titles. I think he has gone past Pollard. Yeah, I think he's the winningest. So you get Russell in your team, your championship bound kind of thing. All right, so there's no question about him being a franchise hero. So we have several matches at Russell that we can point to where we're just absolutely amazed by his innings. We don't have that at an international cricket level. And I keep saying that he was a powerhouse talent, but I don't believe that talent came to the fore often enough for me to call you a legend or for me to call you a star. Because his talent was so imposing, I think people always had eyes on him, and there were games where he showed up. But I think you needed to show up a certain number of times for me to really regard you as a straight-out star. So for me, he was just a franchise hero and a powerhouse talent that just didn't realize his stardom.
Well, if I should comfort you, Basil, if I should comfort you in any way, Dwight, majority of the persons who are watching are Jamaicans, and 36% of those who voted see him as a franchise hero. So I don't think Jamaican will come at you. Yes, Basil, let's hear your prediction.
I will
If you have
play by
to.
the rules, Carlton, and I
Yes.
will have to agree with Chato 100% what he said. He was a franchise hero.
Thank you very much, Basil. Let's shift gear now here, gentlemen, a little, as I think that would have covered Russ in a comprehensive way, and I wish him all the best in his future endeavors. And one of the things that I really hope is that he would have influenced, especially the children, to start playing cricket. And I really hope that would be something that will happen going forward. But shifting gear now here a little bit, gentlemen, and let's start with Dwight. And I don't need to say anything more on this subject because I would have said a lot on it over the past 3 days. Now, Dr. Shallow on Tuesday announced an emergency meeting. Clearly, it is no longer an emergency meeting because we are now 5 days. So I hope the meeting will still take place. But he spoke of he spoke of collaboration and moving forward together, togetherness. And taking those terms into consideration, do you think that this meeting should be one that open up to the public and should be streamed live so we can be a part of the discussion? For otherwise, really and truly, this meeting shouldn't be secret. You said collaboration, you said togetherness, you want us to support what you are doing. This is not an executive meeting with some details about Cricket West Indies. This is really a planning meeting. We have seen where the Senate, the House of Representatives, the parliaments all over the world, they are streaming their things live. Such a meeting, do you think it should be streamed live? Starting with you, Dwight.
Absolutely not. The best planning meetings are not done out in the public because everybody wants to be PC, everybody wants to be politically correct, everybody wants to be proper, everybody wants to be careful about what they're saying. Nobody will want to go out there and throw anybody under the bus. Nobody will want to criticize someone. And in a meeting of the sort that you're describing, brutal frankness and honesty will be called for in a meeting like that. And it's best that such a meeting be done privately. Now, you have mentioned something. You have said, what about the rest of the Caribbean? And you know, for a good while, we have struggled with this idea of the West Indies cricket being a public good and finding a platform that ordinary West Indian can have a say and make a contribution and present their opinions. And we have really failed at creating that. So I believe this is an excellent opportunity for us to build that into West Indies cricket, where there should be some sort of dialogue or some sort of platform where people across the Caribbean are able to contribute their voices as to what we believe the problem is and what we believe the solutions should be. Because it's only in that way where you have the ordinary people, the ordinary fan being able to voice their concerns and being able to give an input, that you'll have true collaboration if that is what the president seeks. So just to answer your question, one, no way that meeting should be a public meeting. Let them sit in a room somewhere, discuss what they're discussing and put forward their recommendations. But two, I do agree that we should find a way to get the ordinary man in the street to be able to give a contribution and present his voice as to how to solve what we're going through.
Basil, we saw where platforms like these have been heavily criticized by Cricket West Indies president. And according to Dwight Point, there need to be a forum, a platform where West Indians can express their views. And I believe that this is what platforms like the Cricket Forum have been doing, because we not only voice our opinions, who are live here, but we have a number of persons in the live chat who also voice their opinions. We tend to read some of those. Basil, do you support what Dwight said? And do you think that this meeting should be streamed live?
I agree with Chato because I think some hard words will be used in that meeting. So I don't think we want the public to this airing out of dirty laundry and so on in public. I think what should happen following the meeting, we should have a summary of what was discussed and what will you be moving forward with, and how these players can and others like them would be contributing to the further development, or the development or the restoration, etc., of West Indies cricket, because I think some very hard words will have to be used in that meeting, because we have heard the legends have complained over the years. They have been marginalized in terms of participating in West Indies cricket. And I want to say this, Dr. Shallow made a statement when he goes through the list. A lot of the legends have been involved, but I would say to Dr. Shallow and others, they have not been put in cricket decision making positions for the most part. And that's where they need to be also. Not just get them show up a photo up, talking to some youngsters here and there. They must be able to be in the decision making positions. Look, we have a directorship where there's only one person on the entire directorship that has played cricket at a first class level.
Yes.
I don't understand anything that you just said, Basil.
No,
I don't understand. Basil?
I understand. So, Baz, but then you can go and do it. But let me just say something here before you take on what Basil said, since you don't understand. So, Basil, what I want to ask you though, is it that Cricket West Indies is now saying that you have to attain certain level of academic qualification to satisfy the requirement of some posts in Cricket West Indies? And although these cricketers were the one who built the brand, because they are not at that level, you are not going to employ them?
Well, look. For example, Sammy was one of those kind of directors, right? They appointed 4 women, I think, or something like that, to recently, to tick the boxes of oh, we have women in our board of directors, right? Where the product of West Indies Cricket Board are cricketers, the development of cricketers and the promotion of the game. And when you have a paucity of people with that kind of expertise on the board, it behooves you to appoint more. So a lot of the discussions could be more cricket centered than anything else, because I've heard from people who were members of the board of the directors, and say the discussion of cricket is not always the big topic on the agenda, right? And everybody fighting for their piece of the pie, so to speak, in terms of West Indies cricket, including Mr. Sammy.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Dwight, please. Sorry to interrupt you there, but go ahead now, please.
As you all were talking, I just had to scribble down some names to see whether or not my memory is going. Gus Logie, Brian Lara, Clive Lloyd, the great Viv Richards, Desi Haynes, Gordon Greenidge, Joel Garner, Roger Harper. All of these guys were involved in West Indies cricket at a pretty high level. Garner was a director. I mean, Harper a selector, Greenidge, Haynes, Richards was involved in the coaching, Haynes, Desmond Haynes was a selector, Lara was invited to be a part. Clive Lloyd was the manager of the team at one point in time. How can you then get up and then say that, oh geez, farmer players have never ever been involved or they're being sidelined? And that not go so. Courtney Walsh was the coach of the women's team and all them sort of stuff there. Chanja Paul as well. How can you all say that? That is not true. That is not true. That's something that we keep playing out, and it's not true. Bottom line is this, guys, and you all don't want to come face to face with all of this. For all the criticism that Shadow is being given, and some of it, he has to take his knocks for it. But for a guy who has come in, he's pushing for governance change. to the whole board structure and implementing stuff in the Weber report is getting opposition from Barbados and Guyana who wants to stay with things that the way that it was back in the day. He has increased the money, the prize money that we're playing in first class cricket. He has been very proactive in bringing in a new director of cricket, bringing in a new coach, changing the whole format of selection, widening the pool of players and all of that. You have seen him work, Zin. You have seen him do stuff and things. For all of that, we turn around, we end up with this 27. It's very, very easy to say, oh, he's not doing anything. Zin, there is more that's still to be done. And one thing I'll say, at least getting guys in a room and talking about it like he has suggested and putting on the urgency of such talks is a move in the right direction, because one of the things that I see happening in the Caribbean is that a lot of us are sort of tuned out, and it took this 27 that were bowled out to get people fired up. So my view is don't waste a good crisis, because this is a crisis. Don't waste a good crisis and force definite things being done at the very least at the board level that Barbados and Guyana has been blocking.
Chateau, I said decision-making roles in terms of the development of cricketers, right? You didn't, not one of the persons you named.
So you're saying the coach of the team,
hello,
who everybody is looking to. You're saying the selector.
Chateau, you hear what I said? The development of West Indies cricketers. That's not the chess team. That's not the international team. We talking decision-making in how...
No, Basil, you're not looking at what I'm saying. If you're the coach of the team, you have a very strong say, for example, on reforming regional cricket, something that I've been talking about for a while.
The coach is going to do that.
What do you mean, how? He can sit with the director of cricket. No. Wait, stop. He can sit with the director of cricket, as I've suggested that Sammy should have done, and say, listen, this regional cricket thing that you have right now of 8-week teams will not give me the cricketers I need to work with. I know that we need to invest in cricket in schools and cricket at the grassroots level. But even then, we still have a fair crop of players coming through the under-19 system who have performed in under-19 cricket, who have failed thereafter. And the regional cricket system that we have should change. And I've said it. And I've said it to Bascom. Split these 8 teams into 2 teams. Let them play 4 rounds of cricket, and I can explain how you get 4 rounds of cricket from 4 teams easily. Zin, at the end of that, pick the 2 zone toppers, and then pick 2 best of the best teams and let them play. Because a big part of the problem, Basil, is that our bats are not facing quality bowling.
That cannot solve the problem if we do not need with the root cause.
Chateau, you are obfuscating. I'm talking about the development of our players, creating that pathway that our players would be on par with their counterparts from grassroots all the way up to the regional level. Look, Mr. Chateau, I just came back from Barbados, where we had several youngsters in our team from Guyana. And when I discussed with them about playing the ball under the eyes, most of them did not even know what that means.
I want to ask Dwight a question here.
No. Wait, Basil. Go ahead, guys.
It's for 2 years now, I'm telling you, so playing more game is not the problem, is not the solution until you solve the basic requirement. Now, let me ask you something here to try and help you to understand this. If you take a 15-year-old boy from England and put him in our under-19 program, would he look competent? Would he belong?
Yes.
Would he look like he belong? A 15-year-old boy from England and put him in West Indies to play in this under-19 tournament that West Indies is playing. Would he look like he belong?
Yes, more than. And let me answer, because I'm
going to answer you both. I'm going to answer you both as soon as Baz is finished. I'm going to answer you both as soon as Baz is finished.
We had an Australian team in the Sir Garfield Silver tournament. Albeit, some of them were not. Well, we had guys maybe as talented as them and so on. But when you looked at them, their approach, their technical, their techniques, and so on, you could see these youngsters had way better grounding than our guys, right? That is what we are talking about, Chato. You keep harping about the West Indies team and regional. Look, we just had a regional under 19 women's tournament just completed. Chato, did you look at those games? Remember, that is the one level below international. Same when we have the senior women. It's one level below the international, right? That is what we're talking about. We have not seen the quote-unquote legends in decision-making roles in the development of cricket pathways in our region. That is the point. Not being coach at the West Indies team or selector. And let me tell you something. Roger Harper being a selector is not using Roger Harper's best abilities to contribute to the cricket. Right? So,
Okay.
or whatever. So, Chato, all right.
Okay. So both of you have had your say. Give me a chance to reply to both.
No, I ask you one question. Answer the one question.
Give me a chance first. No, but give me a chance first, guys. Give me a chance first. Give me a chance and then I'll be done in 30 seconds.
Answer the question I asked you. If you take an under 15 player from England and put him in our under 19 tournament, will he looks like he belong?
Based on how England has played over the past 20 years, no, he will not look like he belongs.
You are disingenuous. Okay,
no. Let me answer. Guys. When will I get a chance to speak? I'm just curious. Both of you lining up. When will I get a chance to make my point? When? I'm just curious. When? Because I'm listening to both of y'all talk. Both of y'all talk as if this thing of West Indies cricket playing poorly has happened over the last 2 or 3 years. No, give me a chance. Give me a chance. Guys, Basil.
Let me ask you another
Give
question.
me a chance. I'm begging you to give me a chance to speak.
You get a chance.
All right, but you asked me a question and answered your question. You're coming back with another question and you're not allowing me to speak. Go ahead.
If you take an under 15 cricketer, just a minute, Basil, and you need to come forward. If you take an under 15 cricketer from the West Indies and put him in the under 19 tournament, and you take one from England and put him in the under 19 tournament, which one of the two will look like they belong more? And I can tell you why I asked that question.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Could I know answer? Could I know make my point?
I asked that question because I want to make the point to you that playing more matches is not the immediate solution. That may be part of the solution down the road. But before you develop the basic, it doesn't matter how many matches they played. They won't get better unless the basic is developed.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, can I speak? I don't know how this argument I don't know how you come to an argument to say that I'm saying that the solution is simply playing more matches. Because my proposal has proposed 8 matches and currently we play 7 matches. So I'm not thinking of a whole lot more matches. I've looked at the finances of the West Indies cricket team and I've put a proposal out there where they can't say, oh, we can't afford it because there's a lot more matches. What I've selected is about improving the quality of the batsmen that our bowlers face and improving the quality of bowling that our batsmen face. Because I believe that if we can improve the quality of bowling that our most elite batsmen face, then that will lead to an improvement in their skills. What we have now are a bunch of weak teams. We might have a couple of them, maybe Guyana, maybe Barbados, that are not bad, strongish. But most of the teams in regional cricket are weak teams. And I have said, let them play for around 4 rounds. Let's pick out the 2 best teams and then let's form 2 other teams using the best players from what is left. That will automatically up the quality of cricket. I hear all of this argument about if you should take an England player and put him in the Caribbean, that he at 15 he will dominate. Joe Root didn't dominate. Ben Stokes didn't dominate. They couldn't even tie Craig Brathwaite's shoes when Craig Brathwaite. No, let me finish.
No, right. Dwight, I can't let you finish when you are going to a context which you are not being discussed, because what you are doing, Dwight, is projection, gaslighting, trying to manipulate.
Gaslighting what? What am I gaslighting?
Trying to manipulate the narrative by saying things that we are not discussing, taking things out of context. So I have to stop you.
But you said I was erroneous. No, Basil. But Carlton, you erroneous.
Why you don't want to answer the questions?
But you were in error. You were wrong. You said that I said that we should play more matches and that will solve the problem, and that wasn't what I proposed. You were wrong, and you don't want to admit that you are wrong.
All right. No, I was not wrong, because how many test matches we played last year against quality bowling? Has that improved our batting?
Go ahead, repeat that.
You are saying had a few more matches. 4 matches or so more. How many test matches we played
said
last
that. I never. Basil, you clearly do not. Basil, you don't understand the proposal.
Changing the narratives. When you
Basil, you do not understand the proposal.
Carlton speaking, not Basil.
Sorry, Carlton, you don't understand the proposal, and you're making an accusation that is wrong. I never said what we needed to do was increase the number of matches and that will solve the problem. I said we need to increase the quality of teams that our regional cricketers play against to improve first-class cricket. No, there are 3 ideas here that is concerned. But one, Basil, stop. One of the, Basil, how can you learn when you don't even want to listen to me? How can you learn when you don't even know what I'm saying?
No, man.
How can you know what I'm saying? You're not even listening to what I'm saying.
I'm bright enough to know what
I said one of the suggestions. No, because one of the other things is that we also need to get more of our first-class cricketers in overseas conditions. All right? So one idea is that we need to improve the quality of regional first-class cricket. Another idea is that we need to get our cricketers in overseas conditions. Now, if you want to say that improving the quality of bowlers that our first-class cricketers face and getting our batsmen to play more in overseas condition at the first-class level, that will have 0 impact on test cricket, then I can't say anything to you.
You see, no, just a minute, Dwight. Just a minute, Basil. You see, there he goes with the projection again, saying using words like 0 and it won't improve. You know, projection, trying to project an argument that I'm not putting forward. That's okay, Dwight. We understand that. We understand the psychology. The question now, you have put forward that we need to get our batsmen to play more high-quality bowling.
Yes.
In more matches.
Yes.
Now, how many test matches did we play last year? We played more test matches last year, I think, more than any other year in our history. What is the result of that? We get bowled out for 27. And I would assume that international bowlers are better than our bowlers in the Caribbean. So our batsmen
who are the batsmen in the lineup? Who are the batsmen? No. Let's put what you're saying to the test. Who are the batsmen in the lineup? Shears wasn't played test cricket. Brandon King wasn't played test cricket. Shea Hope wasn't played test cricket. Louis, who is just coming into test cricket. Campbell, who has been laid off from test cricket for several years and is just coming back. Carty, who should not have even been in that side and is a newbie to test cricket. So that's what you're using. You're using a bunch of guys who are either out of form, just coming into test cricket, has not played test cricket for several years, and you're using this to say, oh, look, these guys are bowled out for 27. That means the idea of exposing batsmen to quality over time will improve them. That can't work. That sort of logic cannot work, Basil.
The reason, no, but listen
That
now.
sort of logic can't work.
If those batsmen who have been exposed to the international bowlers,
they were not playing Test cricket. Most of them were not playing Test cricket.
Finish my point. I'm going to mute you if you don't
go ahead. Go ahead.
Those batsmen who have been exposed to international bowling for the past 2 years, if their game was being improved, if they were improving their game as a result of being exposed to international bowling, they would have been the ones playing against Australia. It is because their consistent exposure to international bowling, they have not improved. And the reason why they have not improved is because they are not being able to master the basic. They have not been able to do the basic well. That's why they are not improved. It doesn't matter who they bowl to them. If they don't master the basic well, they will not improve even if they play 100 matches a year. Unless they master the basic. It's like a child, a child who cannot read. It doesn't matter how many books you give that child will get no information from it. But if the child can read and you give that child one book, that child probably get enough information from that one book.
So I have a question for you. You asked me several questions. Can you answer one question for me?
Once you teach the child.
I heard your point. Can you answer one question from me?
Once you
Are
teach
you
the
able
child,
to answer one question from me, Basil?
Once you teach the child fundamental words, once you teach the child basic words, that child will now be able to spell unseen words. You have to do the basic first before you upload, before you add quantity. Get the quality first, then you add the quantity. Go ahead.
Carlton, can you answer a couple of questions from me? You had me answer questions. Can you answer questions from me?
Now, I'll come to your question after I take Basil.
So you're running. So you're running from my question. You're there grandstanding, making your point, and you want to run away from my question. I'm going to ask you the question anyway. During the past 20 years, who have a better record in under-19 cricket? England, New Zealand, or the West Indies?
I do not
No, Basil. I'm asking Carlton. No, Basil. I'm asking Carlton. Over the last 20 years, in under-19, no. Answer me, because you're on this thing about basic, and everybody else have the basic. No, so over the last 20 years, who has a better record in under-19 cricket? England, New Zealand, or the West Indies?
I do not have that information at my disposal. Please
West
tell
Indies.
me. But why do you limit? Why do you limit the question? Why do you limit the question to those three nations?
Chateau. How do you come to the conclusion Westie's got a better record? How do you come to that on the 19 question that Westie's got a better record?
Because I've looked at the results, where they finish in that tournament.
Which tournament?
The ICC under 19.
Yeah, well, where did they finish?
The West Indies have higher finishes in those tournaments than those two other teams, than England, New Zealand. I'll never compare the West Indies to India and Pakistan and Australia, because those are elite teams even at that level. But this argument that a 15-year-old in England is just so far better than a 15-year-old in the Caribbean, that doesn't reflect in the under-19 tournaments that we have seen. All right?
No.
And so this whole idea that our cricketers are just crap coming up. We had Athenians who perform well. We have
you keep on projecting, and I can't allow you to project in. I am saying that no one said that the under 15 player looks far better. The word that is used is that the under 15 player would looks like he belong,
It would be
which
more
is
fundamental.
different
It would
from
be
being
more
better.
fundamental.
Stop
It would
your
be more fundamental.
projection, Dwight. Stop
You
your
notice that
projection.
you notice that you still have not answered my question, and my answer stands that over the last 20 years, the West Indies has produced better cricketer up to under 19
If I
level
do not
than
have the
England and New Zealand.
information, what you
However,
want me to
no,
do?
no, no,
Tell
but
a
wait
lie?
up.
I don't tell
But
lie on
however,
this channel. I don't tell
okay,
lie
okay,
on
okay,
this channel. I do not have the
okay,
information.
but let me finish. I
I
understand,
know
but let
you.
me.
I know that you see me as a reservoir of knowledge. I'm very proud of that, and I'm very happy that you see me that way. But I don't have the information on this
All right,
occasion. Over to you,
fair. But now that you have heard the answer to it, all I'm saying
Over to
is,
you, Basil.
if you should look over the last couple of years, you will say,
Because
yeah,
of
England.
because of
Go
your
ahead.
projection, Dwight, and because of the way you try to exaggerate the point, I can't trust your answer. So over to you, Basil.
No, Chato, I think what Carlton was saying in terms of the under 15, talking about the song, the fundamental soundness. And also, not only that, the ability to talk about the game, talk about their skills, talk about what they have to develop and all those things, tactics and all those things. The under 15 from England, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, India, they would all be way ahead of our youngsters here. And let me also tell you, Chato, a lot of the under 15s in the United States, in what I just described, would be ahead of our youngsters too, right? Because look, I actually did a interview because I was creating a online cricket coaching platform, which would allow the skill development and so on. And I interviewed a bunch of under 15s and so on around the United States to hear from them what they would look for in such a program. And I was taken aback as to how all these youngsters, because some of the questions I asked them was about their games, what they think they needed to improve their games and so on. And I remember saying to one of them, I said, your counterparts in the Caribbean cannot articulate their cricket like how you guys talking here. I have friends who coach under 15s in Guyana, and I asked him, he said, no, under 15s in Guyana can't talk about the cricket in that manner. And that's what we're talking about, Chato. The guys from Australia we beat in the finals recently. You look at those guys, the songness of the technique, the way they run through the wickets, and so, they're not more talented than ours, but fundamentally they're stronger than ours. So if guys like them were able to ascend to the highest levels in their respective countries versus our guys, they would outmatch our guys. That's the point.
Okay.
And look, I've been to World Cup and I see West Indies play, right? And West Indies didn't even go through to the qualifiers. They got knocked out before the qualifiers, right? And on this West Indies team, you had people like Kemar Roach, Narain, Pollard, Leon Johnson, Porkins, Shamar Brooks, all of them being on the team, and they didn't even get to the qualifiers. Now, several of those guys have gone on to play international cricket, right? So
yeah, but Basil, you guys still.
and
But allow me if I
let
can,
me
Basil.
finish, Chato. You talk a
Okay.
lot, and I sat quiet here.
Okay.
Right, Chato. The essential thing, what Carlton is saying, it's not about playing more cricket. Again, we are looking for quick fixes. And there is no quick fix. Now they finally realize this. They need to be upskilling our young people from the bottom up. So the standard of the cricket in every territory is going to go up. So those who are selected to represent those territories will bring a level of cricket that will allow our first class to go up. What you're asking for, Chato, would not work. We saw the experiment with the Weeks and the Headleys. Those games turned out to be highfalutin all-star games. There was no intensity in those games that keep you representing your country. Mr. McKenzie, hold on. Mr. McKenzie made a double century And then when he got put before the firing line, he faltered, right? So
Okay.
I'm saying to you, I understand where you're coming from, but we have to upskill our players. And my position is this: you talk about what the DOC and all them talking, they have never addressed that in a fundamental way.
Yeah. The problem of the basic comes before the increased number of matches. Increased
Yes,
number of matches will not solve the problem if we do not address the fundamental basic. I have been saying this for more than a year now. And finally, the director of cricket appears to agree with me. This is what he said.
yes.
We definitely need someone who is a technician. And again, he's making it look difficult. I don't know why he used the word technician. We need a good batting coach. And
Correct.
this is one of the challenges I think that we have in West Indies cricket, because even things that we can explain simple, we try to make it so affluent and grander so that we
Hyper-localized.
buy time. And so he said that we definitely need someone who's a technician and can look at these techniques, break them down to help the players identify their deficiencies, and
No,
most importantly, be able to put an intervention plan in place and develop the drills. I don't know why he said develop the drills, but it's just to make it sound again grander.
yeah, yeah.
Develop the drills to get the players doing the right things to arrest those deficiencies.
Can I
And he
add
said,
something to that?
this is not a silver bullet. There's no silver bullet to fix West Indies cricket. There's nothing that can be done in a week or a month. That again, is just like what Dwight is doing, projection, trying to
No,
put forward a comment to you, Basil, because I want to say something about this week or month. I can tell you, and those of you who follow sport, work with me now. If you are ninth in the T20 table that West Indies were 2 years ago, do you realize how easily they move from ninth to third, or how quickly
right.
it happened? And when they reached third, it was very difficult to move from third to even second or to even first. So when you're low down, it is easier to come up to average than when you're average to move to greatness, if you're understanding me.
Yes.
West Indies batsmen are averaging 10 runs. 10 runs West Indies batsmen are averaging over the past 2 years to deliveries that pitch on a good length and good line. I
Correct.
determine good length and good line to be between
Top of the
middle
stumps.
stump
Top of
and
the
fifth
stumps.
stump, and
Yeah.
anywhere from 5 to 7 meters. That's what I determine. So West Indies batsmen are averaging 10 runs to that. If these guys start working on their basic techniques, I can tell everyone in West Indies cricket that average of 10 will move to 15 within 3 months. And then it will move to 20 in another 3 months. It will be harder to move from 20 to 30, but they are so low that it doesn't take a long time to move to 20. That's what I'm putting forward here. Basil, go ahead.
Look, I said this to he was then the vice president, Mr. Dr. Shallow, in Florida. And I used the NBA analogy. The NBA, before recent times, players had to play at least 3 years in college before they could declare themselves eligible for the draft. When they changed that to the one and done, which a guy could play 1 year, or even guys could come straight out of high school if they choose to. More players were coming into the NBA, not NBA ready. So what did the NBA teams do? And as a league do? One of the things they did, they brought in more development coaches. So when a guy is drafted to a team, he is put with development coach to work and upskilling this guy. So within 2 years or so, this guy can become a competent NBA player, and three to 4 years can become a good NBA player, right? That's why when you see an NBA game, you see a whole row of coaches sitting behind the bench. So what I said, West Indies need to have such type of coaches with the international team and such type of coaches with each of the territorial teams, right? But you know the question is this, Carlton. I asked the question, how many do we have coaches who have gone beyond a level 3 certification to specialize as a batting coach, a fast bowling coach, a spin bowling coach, wicketkeeping, etc.? Because there's more technical things you have to develop the understand the biomechanics, all those things that to help those players where you could break down a technique and so on. We don't have very much of those in the region, right?
Thank you very much, Basil. Over to you, Dwight.
I've listened to both you gentlemen talk. I've listened to y'all talk around the whole thing. This argument that you have laid, I don't know where half the stuff that y'all claiming that I'm saying. I never said anything about, oh, all we need to do is to play more matches. And to claim that I did is just being unfair to the point that I've made. Secondly, I never said that we don't need to address issues in grassroots crickets that has to do with the technique of the players. I've 100% said that we need to address stuff in school cricket and stuff. I've said that. So to come at me and to say almost like I'm saying that if we do this, this will solve the problem, I disagree with you all. I'm not saying that. I have said that all the points that you have laid here about the things that you all think we need to do at a lower level, we believed that several years ago. We believed that when Brathwaite was a better player than Joel Root in under 19 cricket. We believe that when Poran was tearing up under 15, under 19 cricket, and young Shanja Paul was doing it. We believe that for several players who were doing better than their counterpart in lower level age group cricket. And guess what? They were unable to transition. It's surprising that in T20 cricket, we have players who have been unable to transition. Could it be that there are T20 tournaments that they're able to play in with other top cricketers that have allowed them, given them the space to train and to practice and develop so that when they go into the international space, they can perform better in T20 cricket? Could that be part of the idea? Could that be part of the issue? Listen, we don't have that right now. We have cricketers who are learning on the job when they go and play international cricket. At an international cricket level, where you're just given a couple of games and all eyes are on you, you tighten up. You are just trying to survive. You are not trying to develop your cricket right there. A better place for us to give them the quality that they need to improve their cricket is at a first-class level. And I'm saying again, that must be a part of the solution, because right now they are facing bowling that will not help them to develop, to transition. All right, we're seeing Harry Brook and Athanaze playing under 19 cricket, doing equally well, similarly well. And we see Harry Brook pole vaulting and going on, and Athanaze not doing the same. We can say the same thing about Joe Root and Brathwaite. All right, we're seeing that, and we're seeing cricketers in more developed, structured system getting the assistance, that the help that they need at a first-class level, and their cricket taking off, and our cricketers just flatlining and then declining. Why is that? Why are we exploring that? That must be a part of the solution. It's not the only part, but it must be a part of the solution.
Mr. Chato, what you just defined as part of the solution is the fundamental thing, and that's what both of us are saying.
Yeah,
no.
Yes.
No. We're saying two entirely different things.
No, Chato. Unfortunately.
Yes. Because I'm told that I'm deflecting and I'm doing something. We're saying two entirely different things.
Chato,
but it's not my show. You all take it how you want to take it.
Chato, you're not realizing what both myself and Carlton are saying is exactly what you said in the last part of your
No,
thing.
no, it's not.
No, hold on, Chato. Had our under 19 players been fundamentally sound, right? They would have been able to develop their skills as they went up the ladder. That even though they performed,
Basil, stop that, man.
hold
Stop
on,
that. You're telling me that you're telling me that one player dominates another player at a lower level.
Gentlemen, I've mute both of you, because we were having this to and fro earlier, and now we were going back to one person talking at a time, but Dwight keep on interjecting. Allow Basil to finish, Dwight, and then I'll come to you. Please. You will get your turn. Just allow Basil to finish. Go ahead, Basil.
Look,
Go ahead.
we got empirical evidence. In New Zealand, Athens outscored Shubman Gill, outscored Pretty Shaw, outscored Ravindra from New Zealand. All of them by plenty.
Will Jackson, Brooks, and all of them.
Right? He played more first-class cricket or just as much as Shubman Gill. Where is Shubman Gill today in compared to Athens? Because you know why? Athens, despite the fact he made all of those runs, was not fundamentally sound. He missed out a lot in making the West Indies team, whereas a Shubman Gill in making the India team was a more fundamentally sound player, closer to the finished product at 18, 19 than Athens. That's why they can progress. And that is what we are talking about in addressing those things from the ground up. So if you hear guys supposed to be ready to play international cricket at 18, 19.
Now, you know the difference with difference between me and you? The difference between me and you is this. You think that even when Brathwaite was dominating Joe Root, you thought that Joe Root was still a better player than Brathwaite. That's the difference between you and I. You think that even when the West Indies cricketers were performing better than their counterparts at a under 19 level, you believe that they still had better fundamentals and they were better players. And now when they go up to a better level, that is the reason why they improve. And I disagree with you. I believe the reason that they were able to transition and our players were not able to transition is because of the infrastructure, the coaching, the setup, the compensation even that they had in their system. There's no way you can compare the cricket that Shubman Gill played at a first-class level to that which Athens played at a first-class level. There is no way you can compare them. Shubman Gill was facing up to better quality bowling, better quality cricket, more intense cricket than Athens was facing up to. So it's no surprise that surprise, a few years later, Shubman Gill is a better player than Athens. And that is my thing. We differ on that point. You believe that even when our players at a lower age group level was outperforming their counterpart in New Zealand and England, you still believe that they were better players. And I don't agree with you.
Well, that's where we differ, because I looked at the players. And you could look at it. You know what's interesting? Pretty Shaw was a star boy on the India team. And if you looked at Pretty Shaw bat and Shubman Gill, you know Gill was going to be the bad man, because you saw the fundamentals, what he brought to the table, unlike Pretty Shaw, who would play shots and the bat is so far away from the left foot, and Shubman Gill tighten, all of those things. Those are things I look at. And let me tell you something. Don't think that all of India Ranji Trophy is this high, top-class standard cricket, because I have seen Ranji Trophy cricket, right? That some of it is comparable to what we play in the Caribbean, right? Not all the teams is big teams. You got to talk to some teams playing Ranji Trophy, my friend. So don't jump to the conclusion because you're playing Ranji Trophy, automatically you're playing higher level cricket than us. But what they have there, they have in India, I agree with you, they have better infrastructure in terms of coaching and all of those things that we do not. And we have been playing footsie with that.
Basil.
Let me finish this last point. we would think, oh, because a guy go and get in level 3, he arrived. No, we have to hold our coaches more accountable for what the work they're doing, because it's the same training they're getting at level 3 that their counterparts are getting all around the world.
But Basil,
I want to make a point before you come in. Let me make a point before you come in. Now, I understand what is being said, and I want to say it clearly. Oh, I must point out that Dwight is getting a lot of love in the chat today. I wish I could take the comments, but we don't reach a threshold on the likes yet. But he's getting a lot of love. I want to make the point clearly for a change. Probably he sets up his friends to come on, because I'm seeing a lot of new names. Yes. So for a change, I want to make the point. Playing more cricket is important for your development of your game. And I've been saying this for more than a year now. But I've been also saying that if you do not do the basics well, you will not improve. You will not survive. To become a great player, you must do the basics well. West Indies batsmen in particularly are not doing the basics well.
Correct.
That's why they average 10 runs to deliveries at pitch on a good length and good line. Until we solve that, it doesn't matter what. And you see, that point that I've been making, Cricket West Indies finally came to that realization. Over the last 5 years, they have tried many different things. But thankfully, the director of cricket last week said, we have to go to the basic. Thankfully. Over to you, Dwight.
Let me say two things here. Number one, anybody who looks on me and look at two teams, or even three teams, and see one dominating two others in terms of outcome over 2 decades, and you tell me that the other two have their basics together and this team have problems with its basics, there's something flawed, fundamentally flawed with that sort of logic. That is with all due respect, that sounds like nonsense. Then you're going to look at 3 teams. One of them has clearly outperformed the other 2, and you're telling me that the other 2 has better players with better fundamentals, and is when it got to a higher level that you saw that team had better cricketers with better fundamentals. Please, I'm not getting into that. That does sound like an idea I shouldn't interact with. But also, this whole thing about how players get better. You guys believe that the only issues that's plaguing West Indian cricketers is that they just have poor technique, and I tend to disagree.
Dwight, I don't want to cut in on you. But I don't want you to use words like only and zero, and just be balanced in your comment, please.
Okay. But let me move to this thing about technique. All right. And I'll hear this sort of comment where there's this huge focus that the real issues that these players have is that they have bad technique. And yeah, there's a part of that is true, but there's a part of that goes back to something that we call temperament of the player, the temperament of the player. What do I mean by that? You play regional cricket. Mentally, you know that there's just one good bowler on that opposition side. He's the guy I need to see off. Don't worry if I don't score against that guy. If I score 0 against him for 2 overs, that's fine, because there are a bunch of rubbish coming at me later that I can cash in. And I'm just waiting for the rubbish to come in to catch in. You go and play international cricket, you're sizing up against 2, 3, 4 quality bowlers, and you don't have that respite. You don't have that release right there. How do you play through that? How do you play through that? One of the things that you learn that international players do is that they're able to cash in on bad bowling when it comes up. Just when it comes up, because they know it's not going to come up frequently. We have our players that once the bowling get tight, they literally just go into a shell. So apart from this issue of poor technique, there's an issue of a particular mindset that a player has and a particular strategy that a player develops once they face higher quality bowling. That is why it's very important to up the quality of bowling. Players then start to strategize and have better strategy about how to play. There's more patience that comes into their batting and say, don't worry, just relax, play through it. And then that bad ball comes, bam, it's to the boundary for 4. Not a single, it's to the boundary for 4. And that's a part of the thing that you guys missing. But I hear you, and I'll leave you all thing and tell me that.
Again, just a minute, Basil, because I address this. Because you see, I often heard you in particular, Basil, and others would have told Dwight that he doesn't play cricket, so he doesn't really understand the fundamentals. Those confidence.
So because I'm destroying your argument, your rank here, you sure you want to go down this path here? I don't think we need.
No, Dwight,
no. Carlton, take that back.
No, I am not taking it back. I don't say anything wrong.
Okay. Well, I'm gone.
Cool, you may go. No problem. Thank you for being here. Yes. Basil, I think what Dwight doesn't understand is that for a batsman to be confident, he has to have trust in his technique. That's what brings about the confidence, You having trust in what you are doing. And that's where the trust and the confidence come from. He believes that it just come about by some psychological thing. It's just in your techniques. Go ahead, Basil.
Yeah, look, I think Chateau didn't even understand technique simply means this: being able to answer the questions as a batsman that the bowlers pose. That's where your technique is. Technique is not just simply the biomechanical execution. It is also your choice making the choice to play forward or back, leave the ball, what shot you're going to play, and all of those things. Being able to pick up the line and length of what the bowler is bowling. All of that is part of technique, right? Being able to understand the game situation that you're in so you can execute accordingly. When you play in a substandard system where you're not challenged as you're coming up, those skills are not developed, are devoid. Look, in past days of West Indies cricket, our guys, West Indies cricketers used to play 4 and 5 first-class games a season, but they still could go and compete at the test level and excel. Why? Because a guy could actually prepare for test cricket by playing club cricket in his country, because the standard of the cricket was high, because he had to face fellow national players or even test players from his country playing in the local cricket, right? That has gone out of our cricket, where we don't see as many of the international guys playing in the local cricket. How do you resolve that you could maintain the standard? One of the things I think you have to constantly make sure the skills of the players are of a good level, so they can come. So when you go up against another guy, it's serious competition, right? So it starts from school age group cricket and club cricket, right? And because, as we would say, guys who get into the top these days used to fall by the wayside in bygone eras because they got found wanting. They did not have the requisites to climb up the ladder. But today, because of the substandard nature, they could climb up the ladder, go into international cricket, and look as woeful as they look. The same Graffiti talking about 100 test matches, was the top scorer in the under 19s when he went there, and look how he looks.
Yeah,
does Joe Root look like that? Does Joe Root look like that?
And let me put it simple, Basil. You are batting, and a bowler half volley to you. You know it's a half volley. You know you must come on the front foot and drive it. You are very positive, but yet still, because you don't have the correct technique, you inside edge it into your pad and it trickle to mid on, or you picked out mid off because you do not use your shoulder and curve it and your wrist and so on. So that's where the basic fundamental techniques come. If you do not have the techniques, you cannot even put away bad balls.
Exactly.
Yeah, much more to put away good balls, because you can put away good balls in the Basil, but you have to have the confidence in your techniques and back your techniques to achieve that, and then you can put away good balls, Basil. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, look, I remember when I was just recently in Barbados, I was talking with the great Sir Charlie Griffith. We were talking, and he told me something that I had heard about my dad. And I asked my dad about it. That every time somebody bowled a bad ball to him, it was a boundary. He never hit a bad ball for 1 and 2 and them kind of thing. He used to put it. And I asked him, I heard your contemporaries tell me about your ability. What do you do? And he said something simple. He said a bad ball is supposed to be put away. So that was something ingrained in his mind from a young age, that when you bowl a bad ball, you want to make sure you get the ball away. So therefore, you would make sure you develop your skill set to make sure to do so, right? We had our youngsters in our team, as I said earlier. I talking to them about playing the ball on the ice, because some of the wickets are slow. Because if you don't play under the ice, you can hit the ball in the air. You're going to play too early, right? But if you play the ball on the ice, you can hit it along the ground and live to fight another day. They didn't really understand that concept. And some of these guys have played regional cricket, age group cricket for Guyana and so on. Didn't understand it and said, yeah, they hear somebody tell them about it, but it wasn't something emphasized. And it's those little things that make the difference between you being a good player and a not so good player. Because if you don't understand to do that, you're going to hit the ball in somebody's hands, you're not going to score runs, and you're not going to move up the ladder. Or you're going to get a false sense of security until now when you reach up with somebody that are in conditions that demand that you play accordingly, you will be found wanting.
Yes, and that's the point I keep on making, the point, Basil. It doesn't matter how much game you play.
Correct.
It doesn't matter how much good bowling you play. If you do not have the technique to counter it. Correct. Now, it is true that there are persons who learn by mistake. But that by the time you learn by mistake to become a good international cricketer, you'd have taken too much time. The persons who are being drilled properly. And you made a point about coaching, Basil. Are the coaches in the Caribbean good enough? And also the other issues that we have to look at is personal responsibility. Mm-hmm. We have to also look at how long our players are practicing compared to those guys who have reached great heights. And persons talk about infrastructure. Infrastructure doesn't matter if the players are not prepared to put in the work. It doesn't matter. You could have the best infrastructure in the world.
Yep.
If the players is going to come and use it for half hour a day, what does it matter? So it's a combination of things to develop that foundation. And it's when you develop that foundation of the house, then you can build the house, and then you can shape the roof however you want to shape it and so on. I'm very glad that after a year or so of saying this, Cricket West Indies finally realized of everything that they have tried that we must start with the basic. Yeah. When you get the basics right, Basil, then the more matches and the better bowling, you will now be able to cope with that, and you'll now be able to improve your game.
Yeah, I mean, in all sports, mastery of the fundamental skills is what all the great players. I ain't talking about the good players. I'm talking about the great players. All of them are masters. Good and great are masters of the fundamental skills because they're able to apply those fundamentals in any situation without fear, right? no,
And
the thing,
just a
I'll
minute, I
tell you
saw a
something.
comment.
Let me
I
just
want
say
to
this.
address a comment quickly before you go on, because I saying that it doesn't depend on what infrastructure we have without the players' responsibility. That doesn't equate to I saying that we don't need infrastructure. It
Exactly.
doesn't
I
equate.
know somebody
Please,
would come up.
don't
I
bother with
know
that. It
somebody
doesn't
would come
equate.
up with that nonsense. I know.
Yeah,
No,
it doesn't
yeah,
equate.
yeah. Because let me just say this: in Barbados, I got to speak to several of their high-level coaches. Came round to the games, and one of them actually said to me, man, I hear you. I like pretty much what you say. I hear you, but sometimes you criticize the coaches. And I said, look, I understand where I'm coming from. I'm from outside observing, right? And I see the results. So I'm making my points based on the results. But now the guy spoke to me and gave me some insights as to the challenges he deal with. So I said, okay, guy, now I can be even more nuanced in how I would respond, because now you have given me some insight as to the things you were dealing with that I did not know about. I was just looking purely at the results. And then I even spoke to another coach, and what you were just talking about, personal responsibility, that is exactly what he addressed. The coach addressed that to me. So I got a what you would call a very inside view of the challenges both at the franchise level, players, and at the lower levels. Because look, for example, we got a fast bowler, he well, Neil Smith. Where is he right now? He's playing
New
cricket
York.
in New York. Is he going to improve coming and play cricket in New York? A guy like him should be at some county second team in England, plying his trade, where he's gonna get access to good coaching to enhance his technique and his skills, and become more professional. That when we would see Mr. Smith again, we'd be like, why? Look at Smith. Smith looking like the real deal, right? But you come to New York, where you're gonna hang out with your friends and your family and have as y'all would say in Jamaica, come and play the Corrigan cricket every Saturday or Sunday. You ain't going nowhere with that,
Yeah,
you know?
yes. Yeah,
And I
yes.
would say this, and finally, let me just say this. One of the things I was disappointed when we negotiated with England when the COVID tour was this. We should have said to the ECB, for the next 10 years, we must be able to have 5 to 10 of our youngsters put at county second 11s for the next 10 years. That's
that, that
worth more than $2-3 million.
that's very good. I saw Ferrell Francis saying here, good morning to you, Ferrell, and thank you for appreciating what we do. He agree 100%. Good technique is the key for our batting to improve. And I want to make the point here, because technique is not a defined, what's the word I'm looking? It's not something that is defined, because technique is your ability to stay at the wicket and score runs. So it is not something that define and set in stone that this is the way.
No.
It is your approach. It is your approach to batting that allows you to stay at the crease and make runs.
And I would add
Different
on to that,
players will have
Carlton.
different techniques.
Yeah, and I would add on to that, Carlton, as I said earlier, to make it even thing for you have your ability to answer the questions posed to you by the bowlers. That is
Yes,
technique. We
that
get
is
what
technique.
what we get carried away with often in cricket. We think good technique is when a man play a beautiful cover drive and looks so elegant, right? Where another guy doesn't look as elegant, but he's balanced and plays and executes the shot accordingly, but he don't look as elegant. And I would just add what the great Sir Garfield Sobers told us when he came to coach in the 70s in my hometown. He said to us, and you talking about just playing without good. He said, not practice makes perfect. He said it's perfect practice makes perfect. So if you practicing the wrong things, you ain't gonna get better, right? If you're not practicing,
and that's the point. That's the point I'm making.
That's what I'm saying to you. And
Yes, and I'm making the point that, and you don't. I say this a lot of time. You don't practice until you get it right.
correct.
You practice until you cannot get it wrong.
Sir Andy Roberts told me this when he was playing county cricket for Hampshire. The great we name, oh gosh, the fast bowler play against my father them in the 60s. He made a comment about Andy Roberts. He said he would not blah blah blah.
Yes.
Right? And Sir Andy said he went in the nets for hours just because of who made the comment, right? And he went in the nets for hours to get it right. And when he got it right, he became a better bowler. Sobers also told us something. He said, when you look at a batsman and you as a batsman, now all this thing they tell you about your bat must come from hay and all this thing. He said, no. It's at the point of contact.
Right.
Here are you in a balanced position executing that shot. That is where you define a batter. Not where the bat coming from.
Yeah.
Because all of us got different limb lengths, different way we swing the bat and so on. But at the point of contact,
yes, I want to react to what Andre Holmes said here now, and we're wrapping up now. Andre Holmes is saying that Steve Smith, what good technique does he have? What? Andre Holmes, in all honesty, Steve Smith technique allow him to average above 50. He have one of the best technique. It's not what is in the book, Andre Holmes. It's, as I said, your technique is what allow you to stay at the wicket and make runs. That's a simple way to define the techniques. Whatsoever you do that allows you to stay at the wicket and make runs. It's not the side on. It's not the it's not that. We want to end shortly, Basil. I just want to run through some comment because they reach a threshold.
Quickly.
Yes,
the man
sir.
I was talking about was Fred Truman, the great Fred Truman. I made a comment Roberts. And what that person just said about Steve Smith, let him look at Steve Smith at the point of contact and see if he's not side on and balanced.
Yes, thank you very much. Later, James, how are you doing? What a hot and spirited debate among your guests. Well appreciated points. Thank you very much. Basil, one other thing we need to look at quickly. West Indies got another sponsorship, Coca-Cola.
Yes, the
yes, it's
the water. It's the water and another product, Powerade, that they make.
Yes, the Dasani water. No, but the Coke is in it too.
Huh? That is a Coca-Cola brand.
Yeah, that's Dasani, but I'm saying that they're advertising the Coca-Cola too. I know the cricketers. The cricketers will probably.
But the Dasani and Powerade are both.
They are both
Coca-Cola brands. Because when the bottled water thing started, all of these big multi-billion entities.
Yeah, but yes, Basil. So the Dasani and the Powerade, but they are also.
But are we going to be putting up the actual Coca-Cola or just the brands of Powerade and Dasani?
No, we are putting up the Coca-Cola too. We are advertising the Coca-Cola. That's what I'm trying to get across. But so. Thank you all for tuning in. I know it was a spirited discussion. Persons take side, but I hope that persons are mature enough. You take your side, that's fine. But I hope we are mature enough. And as I always said, it doesn't mean that because we are on social media, we have to be rude if we disagree with the other person. There's no call for that. We can disagree without being rude. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Bye for now. The technical problem today.